All right. Hallelujah. Just about ready, everyone. Just a moment or two. This class is loading up on Zoom. Yeah, I'm so honored to be in a position. Yep, a couple people want to come in. I'm so honored to be in this position to be part of your life experience. I'm thankful that Yah has allowed all of us to come together and to learn. Let me see. Someone says, Shabbat Shalom. So yeah, I'm really excited about that. I just wanted to share that. I know I say that, but I really, really, truly mean that. Is that in this in particular time, Yah has decided that, you know, there's a purpose for all of us being together and to be in one another's lives. You know, in some way or another, he's trying to get us to learn how to support each other in our efforts to get to know him. I want all of you to know that if you ever have any questions or concerns, or you want to talk about some things, you're more than welcome to reach out to me, and we can discuss it together. If there's something in the scriptures that I have said that you don't understand, or you've came across something that just doesn't make sense to you and you want more definition or clarity, feel free to reach out to me. I am a resource for you. Can you see my screen, everyone?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So this is the beginning of the last scroll in our scriptures called Davarim. Okay. And Davarim means literally the words, but they can also mean the accounts or the things that have been done or spoken. And so in our Torah portion, we only had 3 chapters. We had chapters 1, 2, and 3. Chapter number 1 is discussing Moshe's last speech that he gives to the children of Israel. And he's going over all the different things that they've gone through from the time that, not when they came out of Mitzrayim, which is interesting. He begins to just talk about the Torah, right? And in chapter number 2, well, before I go to chapter number 2, so Moshe's given his last speech. I'm just giving you some context. They are in the 40th year of their the discipline that they received, and it's like this first day of the 11th month, and so he's preparing them to get ready to go into the promised land that Most High has sworn to give to them. We're going to talk about one of the things that he mentioned. We don't have a whole bunch of time to go over everything, like, the leadership system. We don't have time to go over the appointment and the competency of the judges, but we do have some time to go over him talking about him not being able to bear them and to carry them alone. And there's a reason for that. Also, too, he goes on to talk about, the 12 spies, what were some of the miracles that Elohim did for them, the 40-year decree of their punishment. And even at the point that he mentions that he's actually barred, he's not able to go into the land of Israel because of his rebellion that he has committed against the Most High, him and Aharon. He also talks about the death of Aharon, and he mentions how these different locations where they had camped. Okay, so that's chapter number 1 in a nutshell. Chapter number 2 is just basically talking about the wars that they have been that they've encountered. They went to battle with a couple of different people, but there were certain individuals that he said that you are not to go to battle with. Those 2 individual nations that he doesn't want them to go to battle with was Esau, his brother. He said, don't cause any problems, don't stir up any strife with them. And then also, too, the Moabs. So we found out the Moabites, he says, don't go because I'm not going to give you their land. And so he gives them some context about, like, how did they get their lands and how the Most High is the one who gave Esau his land, how he gave Ammon and Moab, their distant relatives, their land, and how they came about that. And also talked about the inhabitants that were in the land as well. Chapter number 3 just basically goes over the kings, these 2 kings that were defeated by Reuben, Manasseh, and the tribe of God, the 2.5 tribes that were not going to cross over to inherit any land. So that's that in a nutshell. So what we find here is that the book of Deuteronomy begins off with a narration, right? A narration, and it's a narrative. And so he's going over all these different aspects of what they went through as a people. And then he tells them something here, or it's written that there beyond the Jordan, the land of Moab, Moshe took it upon himself to expound this Torah, right? So this is the foundation of why he is about to get into talking about the Torah. It's chapter number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. The first 11 chapters, everyone, does not discuss the Torah. It does not, he doesn't lay it out. What he's doing is he's giving them a backdrop, he's giving them a history, which you're going to find when we get into chapters 4, 5, and 6. He's like going over the words in which they have heard over these last 40 years. He doesn't begin to drop any commandments or any real Torah to them, okay? The actual Torah, the actual instructions, where he starts instructing them all the way until we get to chapter number 12, okay? So, because remember, the Torah is not anything outside of the Mishpatim, the Kukim, which you would say the judgments, the decrees, and the rulings of the Most High, the Moedims. So he doesn't give those instructions until the beginning in chapter number 12, okay? So I wanted to make sure you understood that. But the purpose of this in particular scroll is to expound on the Torah, right? Is to make everything plain and to give them the instructions in a very simple, in a very simplistic way. And that's because if they don't understand it, they can't perform it. If they don't understand, what they've been through, they don't understand their past, they will not be able to understand their future. Okay. And so, if we don't understand our past, we're doomed to repeat it. So he's going through this with them. And as he's going through this with them, he's letting them know that everything has to be done in a very plain way. When I read that, I thought about what the Most High had said. The Most High had told the children of Israel in the book of Isaiah that I am Yahweh, and there is no other. I did not speak, meaning Devar, like the R word, Devar, in secret. I've never spoken to you in secret. And a land of darkness. I did not say to the descendants of Yaakov, it is in vain that you will seek me. That word seek right there is a command. That is our command that we receive from the Creator, that the idea of this relationship that we have with him is one that we have to seek him. And because it wasn't spoken in a secret, he's not talking to us in mysterious language. He's not saying, like they say in the New Testament, like Paul says, that I'm going to reveal the mystery. There is no mystery with the Most High. And everything the Most High has said is plain as simple. Okay. So you can find this in chapter number 45 of Isaiah for your reference. I'm not going to give you the verse because I want you to read the whole entire chapter so you can find it. He says, I, Yahweh, am speaking, I don't speak, I'm speaking righteousness. So all the words in which you and I are hearing from Yah is all righteousness. Okay. And that's something that we have to understand. That's something that we have to grasp. We got to take hold of, because everything that he speaks to us is righteousness. Just like they say in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter number 6, verse number 25, that the words that Yah has given to us, it will be your righteousness if you are to keep and to obey all the things in which the Most High has said. Okay, we're going to get to that as we go along in our Torah portion. It's in chapter number 6 of the book of Davarim in the words. Then he said, I speak with this Masharim. Masharim has to do with equity and fairness. It has to do with truth and justice. It has to do with this idea of everything being even. It's fairness. So whatever the Most High is saying, this is his character. He's revealing to us that there is no injustice with me. Last week we talked about, he said, what was wrong with me that your ancestors would abandon me? That was the question that we were asked last week. This week, he's literally telling us that, listen, I'm only speaking in righteousness. I'm only speaking in righteousness. I'm only saying that which is Masharim. Masharim comes from the root Yashar, and Yashar means to be upright. So you and I should have the confidence We should have the security. We should let it be known to us, and it should resonate with us that the Most High, the only thing he speaks is righteousness. So how does this work in our life? Well, the Most High is not going to do something. He's not going to say something that's not going to be fair. A lot of people don't like the Most High. They hate his laws because he's asking them to do things that they just don't want to do. Okay, so everything he said to us is masharim. It's all equity. So with our Creator, it's always going to be equity. Therefore, he will not unalive the righteous, so the wicked could go free, like the narrative you find in the New Testament. Okay. The Most High has used Moshe to take this time to expound on the Torah. In your Torah, you found that Moshe said, I've set the land before you. Go in, take possession of it, the land that Yahweh Elohim swore to give to your ancestors. Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, and their descendants after them. This is a promise that was given to us that is going to last forever. I don't know any other way to say it. Everything that you and I are in pursuit of, every endeavor that we get involved in should be, in our minds, understood and accepted that this blessing that we're going to get from the Most High is going to be forever. It's going to be based upon the promise that the Most High made to Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. What's interesting about this is that the Most High never wrote it down. He wrote our Torah out for us as our covenant. But the covenant that he made with our fathers, he never wrote it. He only spoke it. He only spoke it. And when he spoke it, everyone, he spoke it before all the host of heaven, which we call Yahweh Zavaoth. The Zavaoth is the armies. He spoke it before the Seraphim, his guardians, the Malachim, his messengers, his Ophanim, his ones who are flying around, the Cheruvim, the ones who are protector of the throne. He spoke this before the stars and before the sun and the moon. He spoke this before the earth and everything that dwells in it, everything that's living, everything now that has heard what Yahweh has said. And they're going to give testimony to you what Yah has spoken about his words. So for us, the promises are not just made to Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. Okay, it's made to the descendants of these individuals, which happens to be us. He did not make this with any other people. It's only you that he's made this promise to. In the course of the speech of Moshe, or what you would say his narration, he said some things to them. He gave them a very subtle reproof. He was trying to delicately let them know some things about themselves. You know, often when we have to tell people something about themselves, it's never easy. And I think that's the reason why he included himself, saying that he was banned from going into the land because of the things that he has done. He made mention of it. So he was sharing with them the disappointment, even in his own failure. And I think too, when we have to bring something to someone's attention, this is just a word of wisdom for all of us. Anytime we have to have a discussion or we have to give some type of, narration, or we're explaining something, we're going over something that's happened in the past, so we won't do it in the future. We have to be very careful that we do it in a very subtle way if we're talking about criticism, and because it can cause some type of discomfort for not only ourselves, but also for the people that we're discussing or we're talking about. We should always include ourselves in something to show them that we ourselves had failed also, right? None of us were able to achieve a certain level of uprightness without the Most High's care, without his discipline. So let's be careful to always make sure that we include ourselves in any type of discussion that we're having, even if we're not the ones who are wrong in this in particular time. We should still have some type of humility and be very subtle about the way that we say it to them. So we need to do it with care. So the things that the Most High had Moshe tell them it was very difficult for them to hear, because often it is difficult to hear. The ancestors of these individuals that Moshe is discussing, he's telling not only the people there who were there for the 40-year stint, He's talking about the people who were, at that time, 19, 18, all the way down to, a baby. And they got 40 years on top of their age. So you can imagine that a majority of these individuals are a lot of elders. Okay. So they've had their stint out there for 40 years that was decreed against them. And he's letting them know that you have been burdensome to me, right? They lost their fathers, they lost their mothers, they lost family members, they lost uncles, they lost everybody. And so the removal of their families and the way that they died wasn't something pleasant. It was very uncomfortable to discuss, and bringing these things up, and especially in our history, is not comfortable. And I think that's what the Most High is trying to convey to us, is that it's necessary for us to talk about what's uncomfortable. Sometimes we don't want to talk about it. It's too uncomfortable. And a lot of people get uneasy and they get restless, and they try to avoid hearing what they need to hear about themselves. So Moshe told them that you are burdensome. You're a heavy load that I've carried this whole time of 40 years. It was a great responsibility. You're bothersome, you're quarrelsome. Those are harsh words. And he asked the question, how can I bear it by myself alone? So what I wanted to take from this is for us to understand that the Most High has to speak to us and tell us things. And sometimes he uses individuals to tell us some things about ourselves that we don't necessarily hear, or we don't necessarily want to hear, or we don't agree with. But what we need to do is we need to humble ourselves and sit and listen to what someone has to say. And we can, we can glean from that. We could take from that. I didn't have a slide in here, but it says that if a wise person rebukes you, and, it's like an act of love. An evil person that you rebuke is a waste of time. They consider you an enemy. But a righteous person will be willing to take the correction. So for us, we need to find a way to humble ourselves to be able to take correction when it's necessary. All of us have not always been what Most High has expected us to be. And even at this very day, there's some things about us that the Most High is not really pleased with. Okay, so it's going to be a little uncomfortable. In the conversation, Moshe did not unalter anything about what has happened. And also too, in your Haftarah, we're going to find that the Most High is unaltered, right? So we're going to get some history here about as a people what we experienced, like with Moshe and the Davarim in the first couple of chapters. But also too, we're going to dive into our Haftarah a little bit more and find out how the Most High sees his people, right? So one of the things that you and I should always understand and know is that Yah is never going to be altered, okay? He's never going to change, just like he says, you sons of Yaakov will not be destroyed. Why? Because Yah doesn't change. And he says, since the days of your forefathers, you have turned from my laws and you have not kept them. That's uncomfortable. We have to take responsibility for this. Ever since the days of your forefathers, you have turned away from my laws and you have not kept them. He's speaking here in the book of Malachi. And Malachi is a messenger, which is called my messenger. And in the beginning, in English, it said this is the prophecy of Malachi. It wasn't a prophecy. Forgive me for laughing, because it wasn't a prophecy. It was a burden. It's the burden of Malachi. It's the burden that Malachi had to be able to convey to the people and tell the priests, more specifically in the family of Levi, what they were doing and how they were wrong and how they weren't listening to the Most High. And that's why he says, if I'm a father, where's my honor? If I'm your master, where's my service? Where's the loyalty? Okay, so you can read that today, chapter numbers 1, 2, 3, and 4 of the book of Malachi today as a family. You get, to fill up your Shabbat day, you should read that book. I'm going to read it since I mentioned it. I'm going to read that book today, and I'm going to go through it because there he tells us that you guys have been a burden to the Most High, and it's because you're not willing to carry the burdens of the Most High. See, when we're not willing to carry the burdens or the load that the Most High give to us, that's when we become a burden. We become a burden. We become an animal in our mindset where we're refusing to plow the land, or we're refusing to carry the load. We're refusing to go where the Most High said, like you've learned in your Torah portions about individuals like Balaam You know, he was Yah's servant as he was his donkey, and he'd use him and he would carry the loads and tell the messages, but he didn't want to. He wanted to go in his own way. Okay. So Yah is unaltered. He's telling us that your forefathers, since the days of your forefathers, you have turned from my laws. And this is true. And you haven't kept them. It's embarrassing. It's humiliating, right? But then he says, return to me and I will return to you. That return, of course, is to shuv. That means to change the direction that you've been going. And that means to make a decision and say, okay, well, I've been following this path. I'm going to go to another path. Okay. But in your Haftarah this week, which is in Isaiah chapter number 1, verses 1 through 26, you find that this is the opening words to that in particular book, okay, of the prophet Yashayahu, which is called Isaiah, okay. Initially, when I put this presentation together, I was just going to go directly into what the Most High said. And then this morning, he showed me that that's a mistake. I said, well, what do you mean, Yah? The mistake is that you need to understand the context, okay? This first verse is very, very powerful. Okay, I've highlighted a few names here. Okay, I got most of them in blue and one in red, and that's for a reason. So this is the vision. Okay, this is the vision that Yeshayahu, the son of Amatz, which he saw concerning Yehuda and Yerushalayim during the days of Uzziyahu, Yotham, Akaz, and Yakiz Kayahu, which is the kings of Yehuda. Before I went right over it, I just thought these are the names of these men. This is Yashayahu. This is the time of Yehuda and Yerushalayim in the days of those kings. So everything he's telling them pertains to them, which is true. That's one aspect of it. But when we take the time and we're in search and we're seeking Yahweh honestly and earnestly to find out what he's trying to convey to us, you then will begin to break down the words of these names, okay? You will break down the meanings and definitions. The word Amotz right there, A-M-O-T-Z, means strong. That means to be strong, okay? So Yashayahu, which is Isaiah, he's the son of a father who is strong, okay? A father who is strong. Most High had Amos name Yashayahu. Yashayahu didn't get this name without his father. His father's the one who gave him his name. Your name is your character. Yasha means salvation and Yahu means Yahweh. So Yahweh is using Isaiah to talk about the salvation and what you need to understand about salvation, how he's going to save the children of Israel, how he has saved the nation of Israel, how he saved Yehuda, how his intention is to save Yerushalayim, how it is that he's going to remember to save the descendants of Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, how he's going to save the tribe of Judah and all the 12 tribes of Israel. So Amos his name means strong. You need a strong father to understand salvation. That's why he named him Yahweh's salvation. Listen to me carefully. You need a strong father, which is the father of Yashayahu, to understand Yahweh's salvation. Okay? If you don't have a strong father, then you're not going to understand salvation. Okay? You can have a strong mother, but you need a strong father. Salvation is Yashayahu's name, which he saw. He saw it what? He saw it in a vision. Everything that he writes down, everyone, it was in a vision. So he would go into an ecstatic state and he would be like seeing something in front of him, right? Which was real, but it was not in this reality. It's outside of time. It's outside of the focus of being able to dial into a certain time. He's seeing into the future, right? So he has a vision of what the things that are going to happen to Yehuda primarily and Yerushalayim, right? This does include the tribe of Benjamin because they are the southern tribe that was attached to Yehuda and Yerushalayim. So it's not just to Yehuda, it's everyone that's joined to Yehuda. It's all the cities of Yehuda, and it's dealing primarily too with the capital of Yehuda, which is Yerushalayim, which that's where Yahweh's throne was supposed to be. And that's the reason why their kings are in Yehuda, in Yerushalayim. Okay, so no king will ever rule outside of Yerushalayim, period, okay? And Yerushalayim is a city of what they call peace, called Shalem, Shalayim. Shalayim means to be of payment, but it also means of unity, right? So there can't be any peace unless there's unity, okay? There won't be any peace unless there's Shalem, meaning payment. See, so it's a city of that, of teaching, right? So the next is during the days of Uzziyahu. Uzziyahu's name, you can see Yahu in it, meaning Yah's name, like Yeshayahu. Uzi, his name Uzi means to be strong, meaning my strength. So Uzi is Yahweh is my strength. So we got the strong father, we got Uzziah, who's the strength, and then you have Yotham. Yotham means that Yod right there is Yod, meaning he. He is what? Tom, and Tom means to be perfect. So Yahweh is perfect. That's what his name means. Yahweh is perfect. He's perfect. Yah is perfect. Okay, right? Next one is Akaz. So here we got one king, the first king that's ruling. Here's the second king. Here's the third king. And here's the fourth king. Now, are these the first, second, third, fourth kings of Israel? No. It's only during the time that Yeshayahu is bringing a message to these kings at this in particular time. So they're not the only kings. There are over 19 kings, but these are 4 of those kings, okay? The next one is Akaz. Akaz's name means to grab hold of, okay? So it begins with my strength is Yahweh. Yahweh is perfect, and to grab hold of, okay? To grab hold of. And when you're grabbing hold of something, you need strength. So Akaz is the son of Yotham. Yotham is the son of Uzziah. You see, okay? Then Akaz, after he is unalived, you have Yahu, okay, which they would call in English Hezekiah, okay? But his name means Yahweh's strength. He is my strength. Here it is. He, and then Kizki, my strength is Yahweh, okay? So every one of these kings at this particular time that's dealing with Yeshayahu, meaning Yah is my salvation, has to do with strength. Isaiah's father's name has strong. Uzziah, Yahweh is my strength. My strength is Yahweh. Yahweh is perfect. So he came from Yahweh's my strength. So Yahweh's strength is perfect. And then he grabs, he takes hold of, he snatches and grabs. That's Akaz. And then after you grab hold, you have to grab hold of what? He is my strength. See? So what does this all have to do with the Haftarah? What does this all have to do with the words of Davarim? Why is it connected? And so we're looking for our connection. Before I continue to go on to the connection, so we got the strength, we got Yahweh is my strength, we got he is perfect, and then we got he is to grab hold of, and then Yahweh is my strength. Okay, he is my strength. These are the kings. The one who's in the red right here was a evil king. He was evil. Out of all the kings of Israel, Judah, this in particular king really rubbed Yah the wrong way. Okay, he really did. And we can find out about him in Second Kings, or excuse me, yeah, I think it's Second Kings. Well, we're not going to go through that today, but what I do want to tell you is this. Every last one of these other kings were righteous. Okay, Uzziah was righteous. He passed that righteousness on to his son. His son followed him. He was righteous. Yotham is the father of Akaz. Akaz was evil. Okay, so you got a righteous father that can have an evil son, and then you have an evil father that can have a righteous son. This is the reason why the Most High says that, you know what, I don't blame the fathers for the children and the children for the fathers. It can go either way. So if you have children, they can either be good or they could be evil. It's one of the two. It's not in between, right? So Akaz is someone that the Most High wants us to really take a look at. He wants us to know that I'm going to use him as an example to you about what you should grab hold on to. So if his name means to take hold of, what we understand to be evil means not to take hold of. So what made him evil wasn't he wasn't grabbing and taking hold of Yah. All these other ones here took hold of Yah. They grabbed hold of what Yah wanted them to grab hold of. What does Yah want us to grab hold of? He wants us to grab hold of the burden. He wants us to grab hold of the work that he wants us to do. He wants us to grab hold of his words. You and I become evil and become what they call dysfunctional when we don't grab hold of what he said. Those who are righteous are the ones who have grabbed hold of what he said. And based on that, when you grab hold of what Yahweh said, according to his words, that's when you're going to become strong. That's when the nation becomes strong. So in that Haftarah, verse number 2, he says, "Hear heaven, listen earth, for Yahweh is speaking." I put this in red because I found it as a mistranslation. At first they had has spoken. You know, Yahweh is speaking. This is a mistranslation. Most High is not speaking any longer. He's not. He's not speaking any longer. This is supposed to be in the perfect tense. That's in the present tense, meaning we're thinking that Yah is continuing talking. A lot of people think that they have a spirit and that he's talking to them. They're in what you call psychosis. Okay. They're thinking things that are not true about the Most High. The Most High is not speaking. The Most High is not speaking to us right now. The Most High has hidden his face away from us. Okay. You said, well, aren't you listening to his? He said you're going to listen to his voice. In this context right here, the Most High said, everything that I've already told you, I've already told you. Whatever I said is going to be forever. So you're not going to be able to go and look for additional information outside of what I've already spoken. Okay. The Most High said that, guess what? I've raised and brought up children. Okay. When I first read this, I said, I've done that, right? A lot of us have. I'm saying I've raised and brought up children. This is not the proper understanding. The proper understanding, everyone, is when he says he's raised and he said he brought up. The two words that he's using, this one right here is called Gadol, which we're going to talk about in a second. Okay. And this one right here, to be brought up, means that I have lifted them up. I have raised them up. They have been lifted up high. Okay. It's not like how we as parents raise our children and bring them up and feed them and all this type of things. What he's talking about is I brought them to a certain level. Okay. But they rebelled against me. Generally, when we're going to rebel against the Most High, and this is what we need to be careful about. Okay. Because these are his words. He says, I've raised and I brought up children, but they rebelled against me. Okay. The rebellion is found in the idea of once we get to a certain level, then that's when we rebel. Okay. Well, as long as we're humiliated, which we humbled, and we stay low like that, then we have a greater chance of success with the Most High. Well, what has happened with us as a people is the Most High has caused us to be called Gadol. Gadol is that word that was used for being raised. Okay. We're thinking, to bring them up, nursing them, feeding them and all this kind of stuff, getting them clothes. No, he's not talking about that. And he's making this known to the heavens and the earth that I've made my people Gadol. I've magnified my people. That's the action. So when he says that he raised up, he magnified us. He increased us. Okay. And this idea of increase is an abstract idea until you look at what the actual concrete meaning means. Gadol means a rope. Okay. And so ropes are made from, like, for example, with your dreads. Okay. You have one strand of hair, it's weak. Right? The more the hair grows around, you have several strands and they start tying and they start twisting and intertwining with each other. They become great. So the greater that the more hairs that go around that in particular strand gets greater. That's the same thing with the rope. So the more increase of the cord that's used to make this rope, that rope becomes thicker and thicker and thicker. When it becomes thicker and thicker and thicker, it becomes stronger. going back to the kings that the Most High is talking to, going back to Isaiah's father Amos, strong, going to Uzziyahu, Yah is my strength, going to Yotham, Yah is perfect, going to Yahoo, Yahweh is my strength. Okay, going to Akaz to grab hold of. Okay, so the only way that an individual can hold or bear the burden of the Most High is when they become great enough to be able to hold it. Okay, so the Most High is saying, at this time, I made them like a rope. I've increased them. Your Torah portion said he've increased our numbers like the stars. And Moshe said, you guys are too much of a burden for me. You're too much. When he was trying to counsel over several millions of people, it was just too much. He couldn't do it alone. Therefore, he assigned the individuals and the leaders and the judges. Okay. But this idea of what Yah is talking about for us is, I've made these people great. I've increased them. I made them a very strong rope, and I made them magnificent. I made them very majestic. And after I made them that, they rebelled against me. In that same context, he mentions that an ox knows its owner and a donkey its master's stall. But Yisrael does not know. My people don't reflect. So he introduces the idea of these animals. After he mentions Yotham and all the kings, then he goes on, he talks about an ox and he talks about a donkey. Which you and I know that an ox is supposed to bear a yoke. They're supposed to bear a burden. And a donkey bears one too. These are domesticated animals that the Most High is using as a reference point to tell Israel what their responsibilities are to him. An ox is the one who's supposed to walk straight. They're the ones who's supposed to do the work. Okay. As again, my example, here's your ox right here. He's going to cross on over. He's going to come all the way down his line. This is the masharim. This is the straightness. This is the evenness to go so the land will be even. And then by the time you get there, you go to what they call the mark, the destination. Okay. So the ox is making its way. This is what the ox looks like in Hebrew, in the ancient Hebrew. This is the symbol for it right above it. Okay. An ox, which you have in your Hebrew language that looks like this. That's the letter right there. You can see the, similarity with here being the horns, this horn and this horn. Okay. So that's an aleph. And then down here, you have what they call the mark. Okay, this is the two sticks. Okay, so you got the two sticks. Forgive me, I'm writing with my fingers because I don't have my pen. So you got the two sticks that are crossed right there. When you got the two sticks, that's giving you the indication of where you need to go, letting you know what your destination is. Okay, so you get these two sticks and you cross these two sticks, not to make a cross to hang an innocent person on, but you give the two sticks to make your mark. Okay, it's to mark something. Okay, and that's what it is. It's a mark. It's your location. It's your destination. So you have this as your marker. Okay. So you're going to follow that path until you get to your marker. Okay. That's your marker. Once you get to your marker, you finish, the job is complete. Right. So it's a marker, which is represented by the Hebrew letter Ta. Okay. That's letter right here, the Ta. Okay. So I have to go from the aleph all the way down to the tav. Aleph is the first letter of the Hebrew language. The tav is the last letter. Between the aleph and the tav is all the other letters, which you get the bet, you get the gimel, you get the dalet, you get the hey, you get the wah, you get the Zion, it just goes on and on. Okay, so you get my point. So what am I telling you? What am I expressing? What am I showing you today? What I'm showing you is that just like this aleph has to go on this direction this way, he has to walk straight in order to do the work. This is what the Most High is telling us. In order for us to understand the work, you have to understand the aleph, and you have to know what's in between the tav to get to your destination. Once you learn the Hebrew alphabet and what these letters mean, you would be better suited to know what your work is to do, because all the instructions that the Most High gave to the children of Israel are in Hebrew. It's not on accident that these letters represent pictures. And every time that we don't look at this and we don't try to figure it out and we just go to the English translation, you're missing the whole point. The point is from the Aleph to the Tav, is the ox going to its mark. This is how we're being trained. That's what Yah is showing us. He's showing that I'm going to lead you through the alphabet. I'm going to lead you through the language. You wouldn't know what this ox is supposed to do. You would just think an ox is some animal out in the field. No, it has a job and has a responsibility. And in this case, he's saying that this ox, an ox knows its owner. They have right here owner, but in Hebrew it says one who's possessing it. To be an owner of something means that you have possession over it, that you're constantly is possessing it. So he's saying that this ox knows who possesses it. It knows who its master is. A donkey knows where its stall is. It knows where its master's stall is. It knows where it's supposed to go. The ox knows that when I send it to go here, it goes where I instruct it to go. They know how to do it. That's a beast of burden. An ox, a donkey. A donkey knows. It carries the load. It knows. It knows when I say turn left, and turn right, turn right. But my people, Israel, don't know. How is it that you and I don't know that we're owned by Yah? How is it that we don't understand where we supposed to return? Like this donkey at the end of the service, it goes to its stall and waits to be used again. So these animals know who owns them, and it knows who's taking care of them. Yisrael doesn't know. Again, this is uncomfortable. This is something that can cause us discomfort. This is Yah telling us how he sees us. He's making it known. He's made it known, not just to us, but he's made it known to the heavens. And he's made it known to the earth. And he's made it known to those who inhabit the heavens and those who are upon the earth. He's made it known, just like he made our covenant known to our fathers, to the heavens and the earth. These are the things that the Most High is letting us know. My people do not reflect. They don't consider. They don't think. They don't do anything. We're a sinful nation. We're a people that have been weighed down by iniquity. This is what the Most High said. The descendants of evildoers, immoral children, they have abandoned Yahweh, spurned the Kadosh of Yisrael. There is only one Elohim, and that's Yah. We've spurned him, we have abandoned him, we've cast him off, and we turned our backs on him. This is what he's letting the heavens and the earth and all of its inhabitants know. And the question is, where should I strike you next? As you persist in rebelling, the whole head is sick, the whole heart is diseased, the whole mind of us has been contaminated. He's talking to us as a nation of people. He's not talking to us as individuals. Why is this important for us to understand? It's important because you and I belong to a nation. That's what we belong to. The goal is to get the nation back on track. The goal is to get the nation to turn back to the set apart one, the Kadosh one of Israel. He calls himself Kadosh of Israel, which is the set apart one. There's not two, there's not three, there's not more than one. It's only Yah. And as a nation of people, we have failed the Most High. And it's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable, it's uneasy. You see, so our mind, he says disease. The reason why it's disease and the reason why it's sick is because of the sins. It's the inability for us to follow the path that the ox knows to follow. We're the beast of burden. We're Yahweh's possession. He said, from the sole of the foot to the head, there's nothing healthy. Nothing. As a nation, there's nothing healthy about us. There's only wounds. There's bruises and festering sores that haven't been dressed or bandaged or softened up with oil, meaning there is nothing that that can happen to this in particular beast because they're so contaminated, they're so diseased, they're so useless. This is what we have become for our Creator. I hope that hits you in your heart. I hope that you take it and absorb it. I hope that you think about and you consider what Yah is saying to us. We have been useless to our Creator. There's nothing about the nation as a people. There's nothing healthy about us. And even to this day, it is because of our transgressions and our rebellion that we still have these wounds and we have these bruises. And these are the things that happen to us because we won't listen to the Most High. He then begins to ask the question, why are all those sacrifices offered to me? In the midst of a nation who are not of any use and service to the Most High, and they're coming to him as these examples of an ox or a donkey, and they're useless and they're festering, we know based on the Torah that those types of animals are not allowed to come and to be presented to the Most High and to be offered in his presence. This is the reason why he asked this question. This is the reason why he uses an ox and a donkey. Is because he says, I'm fed up with your burnt offerings of rams and fattened animals. I get no pleasure from the blood of bulls, lambs, and goats. The religious community will take this and say that he has no pleasure in offerings, which we know that's not true according to the Torah. The Torah says that when they would offer these bulls and these rams and everything that was perfect, it would be a sweet smelling savor to the Most High. It would be a ruach nakoach. It would be tranquilizing to him. He actually enjoyed it. But now we see that with this in particular group of people that he's not happy with. He's fed up with what they're doing. He's fed up with the idea of them being unacceptable. He's fed up with the idea of them coming to him in a state of unhealthiness. He's fed up with the idea of their lapse in judgment, their mental health. They can't even make good decisions. So him not having pleasure in this is because why would you present something to me when you yourself don't even represent that which you're bringing to me? If you are broken in your mind and you're broken in your body, and you're broken in your thoughts, how could you bring anything that would be acceptable to the King of the universe? Yes, you come and you appear in my presence, says Yahweh. But who asked you to do this? You trample through my courtyards. Stop bringing worthless grain offerings. They are like disgusting incense to me. Rosh Kodesh, Sabbath, calling convocations. I can't stand evil together with your assemblies. Again, this is where the Christian narrative comes in and says that he doesn't want you to keep the Sabbath. That he hates your Rosh Kodesh. He hates your offerings. What they don't understand is something that the Most High is conveying to us today. What I don't want is the evil that's with your offerings. I don't want you to play what they would call dumb and act stupid like you don't know what's going on with you. He gives a whole bunch of examples about what they're doing. The reason why he's not interested in their Sabbath day or the Kodesh is because they're not in right standing with him. It doesn't, look, we could keep all the set apart times. We could keep the Sabbath day. You can have the right diet. You could do it all. You could wear your tzitzit, your beard. You know, you could dress the way that you're asked to dress. But if internally, if your mind is corrupt, then you're corrupt. If you haven't accepted Yah's laws and the things in his words, his davarim, as being zedek or righteous, then you're corrupt. It doesn't even matter. The Most High is fed up with that. He's letting them know that I see these things. And he says, everything in me hates your Rosh Kodesh and your festivals, your set apart times. They are a burden to me. So the connection between our Torah portion, what Moshe is saying, you guys have been burdensome to me. You've been bothersome to me. You've been quarrelsome to me. The Most High said, your ancestors don't even follow my laws from the very time since at the beginning. They've turned away from my laws. They've rejected me. I'm asking you to return to me. Return to me to do what? Return to me to be healed. Return to me to come to the place where you need to so you can do the work that I'm asking you to do, that I've called you to do. It should be an honor for us to take upon the yoke that Yah has placed upon our neck. We should be honored to do service and to be Yahweh's servants. We should be honored to be his people and to be able to harness the authority in which Yah has given us. Earlier this week, I taught and told you that the Most High intends on giving you the whole entire world. And how could you and I teach anybody in the world if you and I know not how and what to do for the Most High? How is it that you and I could go and try to explain or try to teach other people about what the Most High said, and we ourselves don't even do what he's asking us to do? What we're living is a lie and it's a farce. And the Most High is fed up with these things. We have to be careful of these things. Yah is tired of those things. Yah gets tired of us when we're not willing to be the way that he wants us to be. We become a burden to him. Yahweh says, when you spread out your hands, I will hide my eyes from you. No matter how much you pray, I won't be listening because your hands are covered with blood. So you might have the desire, you might go through your ritual of praying and raising your hands and crying. But you're not right. You haven't accepted your responsibility. You haven't accepted the fact that this is what the Most High says. This is the condition that you're in. We want to go to Yah with all of our bruises and all of our leaky, festering sores, and we don't want to be healed. We still want to do the work while we're in that condition. And we don't want Yah to heal us from these things. And of course, today as a nation, as you can see over the last few months, if you've been watching television or you've seen some different things going on, look at our people and look how they present themselves. Look at what they're saying. Look what they're doing. Look how they're living. Look how they're talking. Look how they're living. Just look at it and ask yourself, is this a good representation of us as a people? No, it's not. When he says their hands are covered with blood, he's talking about how they were unaliving the innocent and how they would take bribes and how they mistreat people and how they wouldn't have proper justice. As you would notice in your Torah portion, Moshe said you guys were to bring and judge each other fairly. And if you didn't understand something, you're supposed to bring it to me over the last 40 years. Now we set up leaders for them to be able to execute the judgment and the justice that needs to happen, because we are the children of the King. Okay. I didn't go over it today, but it talks about when he assigned these judges and these leaders, there was also scribes. There was individuals who were supposed to write down everything. So we're a complete kingdom. We're not a people without understanding. We're not a people without individuals that understand learning. We're not without individuals who can record our history. We're not a magical kingdom, people. Okay. We're literally a kingdom of people. That's what we are. We're a kingdom. And we lost our kingdom. We lost our scribes. We lost our priests. We lost our king. We lost our princes and our princesses because we failed to listen and obey the laws, the statutes, and the commandments of the Most High. We failed to want to be the people that he called us to be. We failed to want to live our lives in a manner that was worthy of Yah. We've been living in an unworthy manner. And yet Yah has still been very kind to us. He said to them to wash yourselves clean from what? From this blood that they were shedding. Get your evil deeds out of my sight. In context, this is the reason why I don't want your Rosh Kodesh. This is the reason why I don't like your Sabbath days. You're still doing evil. Stop doing evil. That's a command. Stop. Wash is a command. Stop is a command. Learn is a command. Learn to do good. How do you learn? How do we do that, Akika? We learn by, first of all, being humble to understand that what we've been taught has been wrong. We need to unlearn in order to learn. Like if you have to go through and get rid of something that's bad, you have to get rid of all of it. You can't leave none of it around. You can't put a dish inside of a cabinet and it's not in there properly. You can't arrange your silverware inside of your drawer and some of them are turned or inverted upside down and one's pointing one direction, the other one's the other direction. We're people of order or people of structure. You can't have a family and think and even imagine that it's going to be ran and to be and have everything it needs if you're not willing to do the work, if you're not willing yourself to be corrected by the Most High. You understand? That goes for both men and women. If we're not willing to fall into our roles and our responsibilities and our duty, and we miss out. So when I try to be my wife and I try to, do something that's to her, I'm not doing my role, which is wrong. I should never do that. I should stay in my lane. I should stay in my role, and I'm supposed to have my responsibilities because I don't want to be lacking in that area. Okay, just like everything else in this world has a structure. It has a way and a system in which things are supposed to be done. If anybody goes outside of that system, it causes a disruption in the system. Everything is system, it's all system. It's customized, just imagine if the seasons were to, if the winter's trying to be the summer, it doesn't make sense. You see, everything has its place, everything has its time. We also have the command to seek justice. These are the commands from our Creator. Wash what? Your mind. Not just your hands, your mind, not just your body, your thinking. Stop. Cease from doing evil. Learn. That's the recipe. That's the recipe for success. He's telling us what we need to do. And then seek. Seek what they would call righteousness. In that case, they have justice. Relieve the oppressed, defend orphans, and plead for the widow. Our special classification of people, the orphans, the widows, and the oppressed, which have to be the widows, the foreigner, and the stranger, and the orphans. Yah has already told us he has a law about the orphans and the widows, and he wants us to plead for them. When he talks about pleading here, this idea right here, when I looked at it, it wasn't just like go to court. What it means is to argue. Okay? Defend means fight. Okay? So we found that Moshe said that we were a troublesome, burdensome, quarrelsome people. The same word that's being used for quarrelsome is the same word that's being used here for plead. You can take the negative attributes that you have and you can turn them into a positive. If you like to argue, argue for the widow. Argue for righteousness. If you like to plead and you like to fight, fight for an orphan. You would get praise from Yah for fighting for an orphan versus fighting against him. Instead of you arguing with Yah and his authority, argue on behalf of Yah. Instead of us being a burden to the Most High, let's take upon the burden and take it willingly. Yah has said something that was beautiful. He said, "Come now," says Yahweh. "Let's talk this over together." What do you mean? We have access to the Creator as a nation that he's saying, let's talk this over together. Let's have a discussion. Let's go over this judgment together. It really is about a judgment. Let's adjudicate this. It's not let's just talk. I'm not going to talk just to talk, 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 just to talk. And you just are just doing what you want to do. Anytime you and I are having discussion and we want to say, let's come and let's have a discussion, let's adjudicate what the situation is. Any situation that you're in, you're going to have to look for some resolution. You're going to have to adjudicate it. You're going to have to apply the principles of judgment to it in order so you can get an outcome that you're looking for. We're not supposed to be talking just to talk. We're supposed to adjudicate. Once we adjudicate, we can take that off the books and we can move on to the next problem. If we don't get these issues solved in our lives, we're going to keep going over and over and over and over and over again. And be honest with you, it's exhausting and it gets very tiring when you have to discuss over and over. I don't know if you talk to people about the Most High, but it gets tiresome. It's just boring. It's very exhausting. When you're trying to get somebody who doesn't want to listen, doesn't want to follow, doesn't want to obey, always, yeah, but, yeah, but, yeah, but. That's not the way the Most High wants us to have our conversation. Our conversation with Yah is Yah saying, I'm going to adjudicate with you. And once we come to the end of it and you've decided that you want it to be what I've asked you to be, he says, even if your sins are like scarlet, they will be white as snow. Even if they're red like crimson, they will be like wool. I looked at this in its original, in the Septuagint, and talked about a palm tree for the scarlet. And I said, what? You will be like a palm tree. Well, the fruit that comes off that tree is the color purple. That's where you get the word scarlet from. So that's the reason why I make reference to a palm tree, because of the color of its fruit. He's saying, I can change that for you. Even though it appears that your sins are like something that can't be changed, I can change your sins. I can take your sins and I can make them like snow. I can wash them all away. I don't need to unalive anybody to make this happen. I can also take that which is like dark, dark red, it seems impossible to remove, and I can make it look like wool. That's what I can do for you if you and I would adjudicate. And the one who's the judge is the one who is going to adjudicate the situation. So what we need to do in this conversation, when he says together, he's saying, I need you to listen to me. Yah's not looking for any recommendations and suggestions from us as his people, as a nation. He's not looking for us for our input. He's not looking for our ideas. He's not looking for any of our, our inspirations. He's not looking for any of our talents. He's not looking for anything our education. He's not looking for any of our ideas or our, the things that we look so to prove how worthy we are of him. He's literally saying, I'm your judge, and I want you to sit and listen while I adjudicate it. And I'm giving you an opportunity to have things change for you. When you talk about being, they will be like, what he's talking about is, I want to make a change. I want to make a change for you. Because the primary problem is your sins that are causing your pain. The wounds that you have is because of your sins. The pain that you experience is because of your sin. The unhealthiness that you have as a nation is because of your sin. If you are willing and obedient, willingness is saying that there's a void that needs to be filled, and I'm willing to fill it. There's a task that needs to be done, and I'm willing to do it. There's work that needs to be done. I'm going to do it. Obedience is the idea of listening and taking heed and obeying what I said. You will eat the good of the land. For us, it will always be as it was for our ancestors, Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. It's the survival of us and our descendants after us. If you're interested in causing your descendants after you to inherit anything besides the wealth of the nations, then it would behoove us to take the time out to consider the things that the Most High is saying to us. It's the good of the land that Yah is concerned with giving to us. You will eat it. Yah is not talking about some abstract term. He's talking about everything good that comes out of the land. Everything good that comes out of the earth will be for you. And over time, this has been something of really no value to us, because we've been told that, you can eat whatever you want. You could do, it's always going to be available. No, it's not always going to be available. Go talk to some people in Africa. You'll find out, in the different parts where they don't have any food. Go talk to individuals who can't grow anything in their land. Go talk to the North Koreans that went through starvation and had to eat leather belts. Go talk to the Irish who all they had was potatoes. Go talk. You see, we need to understand that as a human being, it's essential for us to be able to eat good. I was talking earlier in this presentation about how you can buy fruit and they don't have seeds in it. The fruit today don't have any seeds. The strawberries don't have any real taste. The oranges don't have any seeds in it. The lemons or the limes will stay on the kitchen cabinet for no more than a few days, and then they begin to rot. And I'm thinking, what happened? They must have sprayed this with something, and now it's rotten. I mean, rot. I'm like, wow. Our food is contaminated. Our water is. Our air is. And air is polluting the water. It's going into your lungs. It's going into your body, and that's why you're not living long lives. So Yah says, if you're willing and obedient, you will eat the good of the land. What land? The land that I have for you. But if you refuse, there's always that opportunity to take advantage of an opportunity, but there's always the opportunity to refuse. You can actually decline and say, no, I'm going to continue to rebel against the Most High. This is the options. So either you could be willing and obedient, or you can choose to refuse and rebel. So you see, these are opposites. Willingness to do something, refusal to do something. Obedient versus a rebel. So if you're not obeying, you're a rebel. You will be eaten by the sword. In that context, he's talking to Yehuda and Yerushalayim. He's letting them know, but you and I know the Yah's words don't change, as we read. So he's giving us insight to this idea of what we need to do as a people, because he's talking to the nation, what we need to do, and what the things that we need not to do. We don't need not to do these things, but it's your choice. So Yah presents us with a choice. For the mouth of Yahweh has spoken. Spoken here is that word called davar. Davar is from the mouth. Okay. So from the mouth of Yah, the words of Yah, these are the words of our living Elohim, which continue forever and ever. Therefore saith the Supreme Master Yahweh Sabaoth, the mighty one of Israel, I will free myself of my adversaries, and I will take vengeance on my enemies. This is what the Most High lets us know, that if we are refusing and we do go against him, that he is going to free himself of his adversaries. When we go back to the wilderness, the Most High is letting us know, I'm getting rid of all those who are my enemies. Okay. But I also will turn my hand against you. I will cleanse your impurities as with lye and remove all your alloyed base metal, meaning I will put you through the fire to purify you. And I will restore your judges as at first and your advisors at the beginning. After that, you will be called the city of righteousness, a faithful city. Context talking about what his intention is for the city of Yerushalayim, which the Most High at this time says, I'm going to restore. This is a future prophecy. So we understand, again, the Most High is going back to put everything as the way it needs to be by restoring us our judges. And you're going to have a king, and you're going to have judges, and you're going to have advisors. You're going to have counselors. You're going to have scribes. You're going to have princes and princesses. You're going to have nobles, because we are a people. And because we're going to be part of a city of righteousness, we need to be righteous. Because the gates of that city is the gates of righteousness that are open up to the righteous. It's a faithful city, so therefore the individuals that occupy the city must be faithful. Because Yah is faithful, Yah is righteous. So anywhere where Yahweh is going to dwell and you and I intend on dwelling with him, you and I are going to have to be righteous and we're going to have to be faithful. Does this make sense? Yes, it does. Zion will be redeemed by justice and those in her who repent. Going back to what he asked us to do, return unto me and I will return unto you. That's that word repent. Shuv, turn back to me. By what? By righteousness. By executing righteousness for the widow and the stranger. Well, I'm not in the land. I don't have to look out for the widow and the stranger. Yes, you do. Do I have to look out for the orphan? Yes, you do. That you ever mistreat an orphan or a widow, because according to the law that Most High has described, you will be unalive for that. That doesn't change. Okay. Rebels and sinners together will be broken. And those who abandon Yahweh will be consumed or be consumed. So you see the end for the rebel. You see the end for the sinner. Okay. Because the rebels and sinners together. So when he talks about here, the rebels are the ones who are just so adamant about doing what they want to do. The sinners here are really low key. That's why he separates them. He says the rebels and the sinners. They both the same. No, one is a little bit more outlandish with their behavior. They're going to let it be known, like Dathan and Abiram. They're going to take a position of leadership and come straight to your face and tell you they're not going to do what the Most High said. Other than that, there's another group of people called the sinners. These are the individuals who are low key or quiet about it. They won't publicly tell you anything, and privately will do what they want to do. And Yah says they're going to be broken, right? I'm going to break them, and I'm going to smash them. And those who abandon Yah will be consumed. Okay. You are not an El who takes pleasure in wickedness, and evil cannot remain with you. This is in the book of Psalms, chapter number 5. This goes along with what he just said about the sinner. Yah cannot stand wickedness. Yah does not delight in it. He's not. He will never delight. He's an Elohim. He's our El. He's our power. He is the strong authority. See that authority with that El right there? That's the authority. Here's the ox again. He's a strong leader. The strong leader takes no pleasure in the Rasha, the evil, the wickedness, the dysfunction. Evil cannot remain with you. Never will this evil, this Ra right here, Yegudraka, that Gurar, the Yagar means to sojourn. You're not going to walk with Yah. You're not going to dwell with Yah when you're in wickedness. He doesn't accept wickedness. Okay? I know you were told that he loves the sinner. No, he doesn't. He actually hates the sinner, and he's going to destroy them. Those who brag cannot stand before your eyes, and you hate all who do evil. When I had this up this morning and I thought about it, I was condemned. I was self-condemned, and I share it with you. I share it with you because I want you to understand something. When it talks about those who brag, I didn't look at what I did the other day as bragging. I didn't. You know, I do a lot of talking. I like to talk. I like to talk about the things I know. I like to talk about the things I've done. I like to talk what I understand. I like to talk what I have. I like to talk what I don't have. I like to talk. But I learned something this morning that I want to share with you. English, again, is not telling you the whole truth. Never. That's that low right there. Yith Yatzavu. The Yith Yatzavu are talking about those who are standing, who cause themselves to stand. So those who are standing, they're not going to be able to stand. They will never stand before you. The one who, this one right here, they got that word right there for brag. This word brag right here is an English term. Y'all's not talking about that type of, oh, I'm bragging. I don't brag, people. I don't. I don't brag. When I read, I was like, bragging. I don't brag. I don't be like, hey, I got this, I got this, I got that, I did this, I did. I'm not that type of person. I just tell people what I've done, what I had, and all this kind of stuff, right? My experiences. But that word brag right there is not telling us everything. Bragging here is an English term. Hebrew here is the one that you need to worry about. This one right here is called holylim. Holylim comes from our Hebrew word halal. And what halal means, everyone, if I put a tav right here, tahila. Tahila comes from the idea of our psalms called Tehillim. Okay, this is called Tehillah. Okay, and that means you praise, or in our understanding is you're going to bring light. Okay, so if we understand this, Yah doesn't like sinners. He can't stand evil. And those who not brag, but those who praise and bring light to themselves will never be able to stand before Yahweh. Yahweh hates all those who do what you call awon, evil or transgression or perversion and twistedness. He hates it. He hates an individual that's doing talking and bringing light to themselves. I didn't see this. I thought me saying about what I've accomplished was something that was good. In terms of comparison, the only thing that I need to talk about and I need to bring light to, let everybody else praise you. You praise Yah. I swear before the Most High today that I will never bring light to myself again. Never. I'm only supposed to bring light to Yah. If we remove the focus off of Yah and we put the focus on ourselves, then we have become to Yah. That's evil. And again, this is uncomfortable. This is uncomfortable for us because, you know, people celebrate us and we think, oh yeah, I can celebrate myself. I could do that. No, let other people say how wonderful you are. The people who are the Most High does not are not going to be able to stand before Yah is the ones who are bringing light to themselves. These are the people who will not cause themselves. Yah will never be able to stand before Yah. So for me, I thought, well, you know what? I can't do this. I cannot do this. Not for me. I have to turn that and give it to Yah. That's what Israel's problem has been. All the focus has been on us and our talents and who we are as a people. We don't turn people to Yah. If you notice the groups that are on the streets talking about everything, they're telling everybody what we are and who we are. It's not about who we are, it's who he is. I read a week or two ago that says, not to us, but unto you belongs all the glory. So that falls right along with this in particular psalm. We are not to bring light to ourselves. The people who do that will not be able to stand before Yah. You and I want to stand before him. So because of that, don't bring light to yourselves. Don't do that. It's not this bragging here because we don't do that. That's English. He's saying, no, don't bring any light to yourself. Don't bring any praise where people are focused on you. Let them focus on Yah. They try to give you the credit. Yes, thank you. I praise Yah for that. He's the one who gave me the strength. You see? And that's where it's at. They didn't go around praising each other. They didn't go around saying, praise be to King Dawid. They said, praise Yahweh. They praised Yahweh for Dawid. They didn't praise Yahweh for, they didn't say, praise be to Moshe. They never praised Moshe. They said, praise be unto Yahweh. And that's what we need to understand as a people, as a nation. Our praise should be only directed towards the Most High. Because Yah says you will destroy those who tell lies. Because Yah hates evildoers. He hates people who are not telling the truth. He hates those who are embellishing the truth or adding to their story to make themselves seem greater than what they are, so they can get the light on them versus on Yah. Those individuals, Yah would detest those people. He detests those men of blood and deceivers. They're an abomination. They're very distasteful to the Most High. With that being said, I want to thank you for giving me your time today. And also, too, I wanted to let you know your Torah portion for next week is going to be Devarim chapter number 3, verse number 23, to chapter number 7, verse 11. That in particular Torah portion is called Wa'etanan. Okay, Wa'etanan means, and I pleaded. I pleaded on behalf. He's going to go through the narration of telling the children of Israel about what he did for them. And we're going to talk about that again. Haftarah, your Haftarah again is Yashayahu, chapter number 40, verse 1 through 26. Okay, and that in particular chapter is going to describe to you who Yah is and what he has done. And he's asking the question about who's like me. He's going to talk about the nations. He's going to let you know, like, don't ever compare me to anyone, right? Psalms, your Psalms are going to be chapter number 39 to chapter number 71. Okay. That's what it's going to be for this upcoming weekend. I'm sorry if I went fast. So Torah, Devarim, chapter number 3. 7 through 11. Probably writing this down. Okay. Devarim 3:23, 7, 11. Yeshayahu, chapter number 40. 1 through 26. Psalms, chapter number 39 to chapter number 71. Break those Psalms up into, read a couple of days and one day, and then read the next a couple of days and go on and on until you get to chapter number 71. Also, too, what I want you to do is I want you to look at those Psalms and write some of those ideas out, like what they're talking about. So you can make the connection between Isaiah chapter number 40. You can make your connection between Devarim chapter number 3 through 7. There's going to be some connections. So these are not just random places that you're supposed to read from. You're supposed to make connections between these places. So you can come up with these ideas, right? So if you notice today, I talked about burden. Well, Moshe said you were a burden. Yah says you're a burden. We talked about the leadership, which Most High has a problem with the leaders of Israel because of what they were doing. Moshe tells the children of Israel what they were doing as leaders and what they were supposed to do, and they did not do. So we got those connections. So you got to find your connections between that, okay? Also, too, we want to finish out by playing our game, which we would call Cahoots. Let's call it Cahoots.